and welcome to Toys Are Evil. Today we'll take a look at blog submission guidelines. Blog submission guidelines and requirements for the Toys Are Evil blog. On the main page of the Toys Are Evil blog, there are three clickable buttons. Click on the blog submissions and you bring you to a page dedicated for said blog submissions and guidelines. This was updated in late September 2019, and yeah, let's go through it so you have a clearer understanding. So the first para: to assist you in submitting clear and comprehensive information to the Toys Are Evil blog, listed here are considerations, requirements, and email me accordingly at toysareevil@gmail.com. Yes, Toys Are Evil, it is not a typo. One of the primary reasons is my former Toys Are Evil Gmail is now filled with spam. As simple as that. Unfortunately, that's the price to pay for modern technology. Okay, we'll go through point by point in English. First one is name and or nick of the artist or customizer or organizer. Basically, it's the name you want to be known for and people might recognize you for. There is a difference between a name and a nick. Predominantly, a lot of people use a nickname instead of their real name, and that's all fine and good. But I've always remembered a story. I wouldn't say a story, it's a collection of stories from the past where friends use their nick instead of their real names because they want to, or rather they wanted to remain anonymous or something maybe catchy for people to remember. But years on in the field, they might be a possibility that you want to go into a gallery. So when you go into the gallery, whether or not you want to use your real name by then or continue using your nick or both, one of the ironies is you might not want to confuse people with who is who, because people might remember you for a specific nick. At the same time, maybe you want people to know who you are. Does it make sense? Like a Banksy will never necessarily appear as anyone else besides his or her. Yes, I said his or her. I don't know if anybody ever considered if Banksy consisted of a her. But regardless, I would know if the person wants to be known besides being using the nick Banksy. But hence the consideration. So this is for you to choose, not necessarily anything else that you want to confuse people with. But yeah, if you do want people to recognize you to a certain degree, so I'll leave that up to you. Item number 2, your website or your social media. I remembered in my earlier submission guides, not 4-5 years ago, it did not include social media, and hence that's how powerful the social media is recognized currently, because more likely people will click onto your social media, be it on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter, and add you and follow you direct. So social media is as important. I can't say it's the most important, but it ranks pretty much high right there right now with this video shot in 2020. What I need is your URL, website address, to be typed out and not embedded in an image or a link. That happens more often than not, because especially if you have it's part of your email out. I mean, I would appreciate. At this point, I'm being stubborn because I'm stating your name will not be hyperlinked if this is not provided. It's a simple text that you typed out, because then I can add HTML to it. More often than not, constantly there are embedded images that I would need to click out to read, to copy your text so that I can type it out. I appreciate if you're not making me jumping through hoops. I don't speak for other websites, but yeah, I can only hope for that now. So regardless, social media is important. And at this point, your website, it could be a Behance, it could be a DeviantArt, which shows how old I am, it could be a Tumblr, it could be your own blog. something that clicks to you specifically, and not necessarily from other websites coverage of your work. That is as important, because if websites continue or not, you yourself will need to continue. So I need something that I can click back to, even if this news is 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Even if you decide to not continue in the scene, at least you might have a archival website of your work for people to refer to. Does that make sense? Alternatively, if I have already blogged about you, I will link you to my blog features in my blog post in the first place. Yeah. The next item is product name and or event name. This is important because something that you're used to might not necessarily be on the edge of my lips or my tongue or anybody else that's reading it. So at the same time, product name, event name is important because people search on Google, people search on whatever search engines, and these is what you want people to find your product name and event name. And in a lot of in the same context is also your nick as well. Yeah, so be it as a customizer or a literal toy creator or producer, product name and event name. Add to that, if you want to include manufacturer or producer's name, also consider providing their URL website address. Now this is optional. Not everybody need to or want to, unless you have cleared with your own producers to list out your manufacturer or producer's name. This might be sensitive to certain people, but it is your decision and not necessarily mine. I won't choose to mention them unless specifically asked to, because of whatever reasons. Yeah, and an website URL would be great because I can link to them, and that possibly justifies your requirement to mention them. And I'll leave that business agreement to you lah. Huh? Next item to consider, product images. Images, okay, this is tricky. As I mentioned before in my how to blog feature previously about image management, images makes quite a huge part of blog posts go around lah. So what I've listed out here for product images is preferred to be clean without text, unless you want to put watermark copyrights. This is in specific to images that might last longer than your release. You might have your own images that says drop date, drop where. At the same time, you might have your own images that says sold out, or thanks for your support. That is all good that you use for your social media, and if you want to use it for the blog, I will not deny you, but also consider the blog serves, or rather my blog serves also as an archival purpose, where someone might come across your post from 5 years from now, 6 years from now. It is not uncommon, particularly for my blog. I can't speak of other blogs, but it's not uncommon in my blog, and you might not necessarily want to date it. Some might argue, yes, you want to date it so people don't bug you for things that are sold out, but I would like to suggest that you want people to find you in the first place. To ask, maybe it's an added hurdle for you, understandably, but it's also to ask you if you still have the item for release, and also gives you a chance to have a contact with the person. Make sense? And we used to joke, the introduction, all I do is an introduction. The rest is up to you to maintain or hold that customer, supporter, person who appreciates your work. Yeah, so I would prefer clean without text, but if you choose otherwise, I will not deny what you send in as well. Do feel free to add in work in progress snaps. Not that it will be guaranteed to be posted. At this point in time, I actually do appreciate work in progress snaps, images. because it literally shows the effort you put into your work. Not a whole lot of people might understand, or maybe they just take for face value the final aesthetic, engage you based on aesthetic and price. I would like to be able to provide folks with further knowledge for them to consider purchasing your product, or even supporting you and see the effort you put in. Does it make sense? You might already have these in your social media, so it is not necessarily an extra. Unless it's exclusive to me, then I'm all good now. This exclusive aspect of the photograph will be touched upon in very soon. The third item, or third on the list, is downloaded images are also acceptable. Downloadable images, literally you send me a Dropbox or Google Images, is acceptable. Downloadable images, I'll have a clearer description further below, and I'll talk about it when we go further down and not jump to it, so you have a clearer idea. So you gotta stay tuned to the video. Thanks. If you provide an exclusive to TOYSREVIL, please do indicate. Exclusive images, please do tell me if it's an exclusive image, and it'll determine whether or not I add a watermark trumping that, yay, this is an exclusive image or not. One thing that I've noticed for the past 14-15 years of blogging, where in the past an exclusive image might literally mean only my blog has that image. But now it seems, the time span, there is an expiry date. There's like a 24-hour. You say it's exclusive on my blog, and 24 hours later it's on your social media. Nothing wrong with that. Then maybe what you could help us with is say that probably it's a first look. If you decide to put it later, it doesn't make us feel as if we're lying. Doesn't make sense. I don't appreciate that, actually. So if it's first look, then it's first look. It's as simple as that. Everybody has an exclusive because you want to ensure everybody posts about your stuff. All good. But also help us not be liars. Does it make sense? I'm sorry it sounds harsh, but this has happened before. And I hope to reduce that in future. Appreciate it. Item number 5. Please provide a banner, flyer, ad image for the event you're trying to promote. This is important because if I can understand where final pieces, let's say for customs or artwork, has not been received at the time you're promoting the event, which is totally understandable. So an ad image is as important, because if it's an aesthetic aspect versus a whole chunk of text describing your event and list of artists, then that image works as well, because that's the image that's going to travel, if not the entire text. If people want to link that image to their social medias because they are part of the show, then that image is important. And additionally, if you have sneak images of the customs and or artwork related directly to the event, that would be much appreciated. Again, it's the same thing as the image. You're trying to promote for people to come to the show, or stay tuned to the show, or keep in mind the show exists so they can purchase items when it's launched in tandem with the show or shortly after the show. It is important. A lot of times people do promotions for this extremely last minute. I can't speak for other blog sites as well, but if I can control, if I have time to promote, that would be great. But if you expect immediate clickability, then maybe sometimes it might not be helpful, especially if it's the weekend. Actually, I mean, I don't know for other blogs, but for TOYSREVIL, the weekend ain't exactly the hive of activity and people to notice. I might be wrong. There has been weekends where the block hits are even higher than my regular weekdays, but you want as much eyeballs as possible, especially if you want people to click on to purchase your stuff. So please do bear in mind. Understandably, your schedules might not permit, but it's consideration, yeah? The next item is as important: product details and availability details. As much as all the info you have, drop dates and price and whatnot, this is important in the information that helps me decide what to post. It's as simple as quantity. How many per item? How many per item that people know that they are to expect, to choose, to want to click on immediately, or it could be later, depending on the item, how people respond to the item, and also time sensitive of the blog post going live before or after your drop date. Because on TOYSREVIL, I am blogging on a time zone that is specific to Singapore. I'm blogging on Singapore time zone, which might not necessarily be the similar time zone to where you are. And the Southeast Asian region is somewhat close and similar, all good. But when you go to the Western aspects, my time zones are different. So a lot of times when people say tomorrow, for example, your tomorrow and my tomorrow is different. So if you don't have a specific date, if it's something that I can afford the time to, I will track down and find the closest time zone to your drop. If not, then probably it's information that I might miss out on. If you have it on your own social media, probably at this point in time, versus when I first started out, I'll just click to you and tell people to check you out. So it's an extra hurdle for people to click, multiple clicks to buy your stuff. So coming back here, quantity, how many per item. One aspect of designer toys is the availability and the limit of the item, which different people might have different assumptions. They have people that has mentioned limited edition of 6,000 pieces, yeah, versus limited edition of 10 pieces. So nothing is wrong. It is still limited edition because you're not doing a second run. If you're doing a second run, then it's a different thing, right? So limited edition, 6,000 pieces is no different from limited edition of 10 pieces in terms of words. But in terms of reality, yeah, I'll only have 100 pieces, yeah, I will buy 10 pieces, 100 pieces. That will decide or make me decide the effort I'll put in. At the same time, availability to buy where? Via an online shop, DM, which means direct mail on Instagram or Facebook. Please provide the URL. This is something that's quite prevalent in recent years, the direct mail, DM, or even PM, private mail to Instagram, social media, Facebook. That's quite often these days. Possibly because you might want to skip on the extra fees that you need to have on the online shop besides your PayPal fee, which is understandable because at this point in time in my life, I literally understand every dollar and cent count. So do consider information in that regard. Yeah. Next item to be discussed, price of the item. Please do indicate the country of denomination, be it in US dollars, Singapore dollars, yen, Korean won, Taiwan new dollars, renminbi. Denomination really does help, and to create less confusion only because of people's attention span these days. They want to know information as fast, I would like to think, and so they can decide and click and go. A lot of times I go to a website at, let me check, xe.com. xe.com is the website I go to for currency conversion, where I convert Singapore dollars or whatever dollars like Korean won to USD. This is is my standard website I go to, and yeah, so currencies might change as well, denominations might change, so I can't control that, but at least you have your country of origin, the price that people can refer against. Make sense? Especially if it's like PayPal or whatnot, that denotes how much conversion rate is. Yes, you might argue it's dollars and cents, but maybe yes, it is dollars and cents. You want to maximize your cash lah. Make sense? Maximize your coin, can buy more toys. I'm sorry if I sound very stingy, but that's who I am now lah. Moving on. This is something that is new. A video of your product or event. Please provide a URL, and if it's embeddable, that'd be great. If it's on YouTube. Now there's Instagram as well. It might be on Instagram stories, which I cannot embed, which is a waste. But then again, if it's on regular Instagram, I can embed that, and that's cool. Put it this way, this is my own personal thing. My logic is, my rationale is, a toy is a piece of painted plastic or resin. It's inanimate, it doesn't move. So you're looking at a still image. So even with a video with fancy images, with some slight aesthetic movement, does capture the attention of the person that's looking at the item, and hence retain your attention and interest in your item, then maybe that helps. I like to hope that helps. So a video would be great for you to consider, even if it's not in the first onset of the promotional post. It could be something later to support that is not necessarily part of the blog submissions, but something for you to consider. Because yeah, the digital age lah, you can consider moving visuals. Okay, moving on. Email all relevant information and images to toysrevil@gmail.com. Please, no RAR or PC attachments. I work on a Mac, and zip folders work very well for me. So thank you for your trouble and considerations. I know the world, my predominant readership is on PC as well. I totally understand. But I've been working on a Mac for the past 14-15 years. And I do not see a change anytime soon. Even if I'm dirt poor broke, I will still find a way to work on a Mac. Yes, I'm a dinosaur, but I will appreciate no RAR or PC attachments. I have no issues emailing you back, not at all, unless it's a time sensitive email. Then it's tricky for everyone. But again, no biggie. Just hope that folks can help me out. Yeah. Last but not least, item number 10. Please state clearly in the subject title of the email what your email is about. A lot of spam emails start with the "hey there" as well too, and I've also realized quite a lot gets sent into my spam folder as well. I don't check my spam folder daily. I might check it once a week, once a fortnight, because it's not a habit I have. I'm sorry, but also please be mindful, and also help me understand what the email is about that I'm about to click into, that I can be productive with. So that's a lot of times that is as important. I would say optional, but yeah, I really appreciate the help. Presentation of news and usage of images are my preview and choice of presentation, but the copyright of images still is yours to retain. This is, maybe I should put a disclaimer, but then again, it is, I would say at this point, the presentation of news and usage of images, I would like to be able to have editorial choice. I've been told in the past that I should do this, I should do that by the artist, and I can go along to a certain degree, but also understand that I'm trying to curate and editorialize my blog posts as well. Yes, I do. I don't necessarily cut and paste everything. I used to refuse to do it in the past, but I also recognize when people take in the effort that I will not deny you your self-promotions. Although there are times when the self-promotion is a bit overboard, and I would choose not to do that unless I do indicate that this is a press release from you. I will not claim to have come up with the write-up that you have written. but I would appreciate if I have the choice of being able to curate that. Does it make sense? Nevertheless, this is the end of my TOYSREVIL blog submission guideline, and hope that this will help you to be able to understand more and to be able to provide TOYSREVIL with toy news about your releases, toy news, your event, and whatever pop culture related items, because that's what TOYSREVIL is about. Collect me, entertain me, because that's what I do now. It's not all about designer toys, to be fair, because I collect all types of toys as well, but my focus is on designer toys, and I hope to see you guys on my blog real soon. Thank you for watching.